Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Phenomenal Views. I'm your host Nick Smith, and I'm just going to tell you, I want to go ahead and get this review out of the way. I went and watched Transformers Age of Extinction, and I can already tell you, this movie is very, very long. Before I even start anything, Josh Bueno, if you're watching this, please, if you go watch this film, take Sarah with you. You'll need her to keep you awake, because I almost fell asleep twice. Okay, so Transformers Age of Extinction takes place years after Chicago. And basically, humans are hunting the Autobots and the Decepticons. There's hardly any Decepticons in this film. We find out who the person with the gun face is. It's a Autobot or Decepticon, they never actually explain, but his name is Lockdown, and he is working with the American government to take out the remaining Autobots and the remaining Decepticons. And so we come across Mark Wahlberg's character, whose name is Cade. I forget what his last name is. It's like Sager or something like that. And he has a daughter who is played by the girl who played in the live version of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And she is very, very hot. And her name is Tessa. She's a pretty good character. There are useless characters in this film, but I'm not going to go into detail. I'm really not. I'm just going to say, this film was not at all what I was thinking it to be. One thing that they do is, we find out why Optimus took that truck form, and it was because he got damaged in an ambush by humans and and Lockdown, I'm guessing, or just Decepticons. So he took the form to hide. Mark Wahlberg, it's him and this dude who dies. They come across, they go to a theater, and then he comes across the truck. He buys the truck for $150, and he tries working with it. He is basically down on his luck. He lives on a farm, he lives on a farm. He's an inventor, and he lives on a farm, like I've said like the third time, and he's trying to get his daughter through high school, to get her to college, and they're losing their house. They're below on bill. They're behind on bills. Sorry. So Mark Wahlberg's basically trying to build anything he can, because he's an inventor. He's trying to build whatever he can to make whatever money he can. So he comes across Optimus Prime, he reactivates him, and we find out that Optimus is now, all the Autobots are hiding from humans, because like I said, the humans are working with Lockdown to take them all, down. So we meet this guy who, they've basically discovered what the Autobots are made of and how they can transform, and they give this metal a new name. It's called Transformium. And they use this technology to rebuild Megatron. Okay. The first one, they found Megatron, and they've been using him to whatever. Second one, he gets brought back to life, whatever. Third one, he dies. The third movie set up to what happened to him in the show, or different variations of the show, and this is for all people who don't know about this, when Megatron died, he made a deal with Unicron, and he was brought back as Galvatron. He was more ruthless and more hard to kill. In this, he is basically, we come across this guy who's like the guy in the other two films that works with Shia LaBeouf. And he has been, since they discovered how to make this Transformium, they've basically found ways to create Autobots. They can create their own Transformers. So they have a project called Project Galvatron. I was like, you're kidding me. So you are going to be bringing Galvatron in this film. And how they built him is they had that little Autobot from the third film. They had him interpret Megatron's brain or something. And they basically took his brain, they had all these Decepticon heads or whatever, and they took all their memories and they rebuilt them. And the way that they rebuilt them was kind of cool, but the way how they transform, they turn into little Rubik's Cubes and assemble. Yeah. There was a lot of cheap background. There was a lot of explosions, like usual. There was a lot of cheap green screen. Like Mark Wahlberg and this guy who's been trying to kill him throughout this film, or who has been a pain in his butt throughout this whole film. He basically throws a football at his face and he knocks him out a window, and the green screen looks like the guy who fell out of the building from the first RoboCop movie. Oh, and the Dinobots. They do explain how the Dinobots come into practice. Apparently, when the creators of Optimus Prime came on Earth, they caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. It was because of this how the Dinobots were created, and the film actually starts that way with a lady who goes to the Arctic and they find the Dinobots. They find Grimlock and the two other ones. So, eventually Optimus Prime gets captured by Lockdown, and then they break him out, and then he finds the Dinobots, and he fights with Grimlock until Grimlock agrees to help. And Grimlock only transforms twice in this film. He breaks him out of his prison, and he's in his robot mode, then he goes to Dino mode, and he stays in Dino mode for almost the whole time. He's not in robot mode again until like the very end of the film, which that's when the Dinobots come in, is the end of the film. There's been a couple films where I have sat there and said I want this movie to end, but that's because it was bad. The reason I wanted this film to end was because it was long and boring, and they dragged it out more than they needed to. The fights were awesome. I'm not gonna lie. There was some funny bits, like when they were basically talking about how they were creating their own Transformers. They were basically talking about how they copied something and made it into like a new version of Bumblebee, but they were saying that this was better than Bumblebee, and Bumblebee's like, "You son of a," and like he destroyed, or he knocked over the model, and it was funny. Mark Wahlberg's character is a good character. It's, he's useful to the plot. His daughter is useful for the plot. His daughter is not a plot device. The only thing that really bugged me about this film was how they screwed up Galvatron. Galvatron only has one purpose in this film, and that is basically to... See, when they were basically turning Transformers into Power Rangers, kind of. Like, when they built these new Decepticons, they were able to control them, but Megatron started acting out on his own, and then Mark Wahlberg called the guy, and he's like, "You've known deep down inside that you are not controlling this thing, they are controlling you." And when the bald guy talks to his secretary or whatever, he's like... when he's talking to, like, the government guy, he's like, "You got what you wanted." No, it got what it wanted. Megatron has been the villain in this whole film, but he does nothing in this film. He's like Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe Retaliation. He does nothing in this film. Nothing. Not a thing. Him and Optimus fight once, and he says only, Optimus is like, "You have no soul." He's like, that's why I win. That's the only thing he really says. Other than that, he's useless to this film. He only has one use in this film, and that is to bring forth the Decepticons back to life. That's it. That's the only use he has in this film. If you took him out after that film, or after that part of the film, you would have the same movie. Galvatron was useless in this film. This was not Galvatron like how he was. Of course, I'm sure we're going to be getting a Transformers 5, so I'm pretty sure Galvatron will be the villain in that film. Now, before I go, I'm going to say, if you want to watch this film, good luck. Because this film is long. It's somewhat worth it, I guess you could say. It's got good acting and good character development, but still, one thing that Michael Bay needs to realize is this is a Transformers movie. Focus on the Transformers, Michael Bay. Focus on the Autobots. Focus on the Decepticons. When we thought Transformers 4 was going to be a remake, they should have rebooted the series and called this Transformers Exodus or Genesis, to show us how Optimus Prime became Optimus Prime, how him and Megatron started their rivalry. That would have been a good story. I mean, this story isn't... It's long and boring, and it gets dragged out. It has some good things in it. I laughed a couple times. The action was okay. I still say Dark of the Moon is the best one out of this franchise. Now, before I go, I'm just gonna say this film. I give this film a D. I don't give it an F. I give it a D for at least somewhat creativity. And the Dinobots. My favorite Decepticon was not in this film, and that was Starscream. Starscream was not in this film. Nothing. There's only 2 Decepticons I mentioned. Galvatron and Bumblebee's clone, which was called Stinger. That's it. That's it. Okay, for Transformers 5... okay, wait. Before I go into that, I'm going to talk about the ending. The movie ends with Optimus Prime flying off into space and giving his little dialogue about how he's telling his creators that he is coming to get them. Because when Lockdown had Optimus, he was like, the creators of us want you back because you're a disgrace for defending the human race and everything like that. Basically, this film is to get Optimus Prime to relearn why he wants to help the human race. Because when he's first reactivated, he wants to kill Mark Wahlberg and his family, but he doesn't. And Optimus said in the film, he's like, when this is done, I'm done defending the humans. And Mark Wahlberg talks to him, and he's like, you've got to have faith. You've got to have faith, Prime. So then Optimus Prime eventually does have faith, and he does, save the day. Now, I did like some of the Autobots in this film, but only one thing. I had no idea who these Autobots were. We got a samurai, we got a big gun guy who was voiced by the guy who played Fred in the Flintstones movie and on the Roseanne show. I forget his name, but I can see his face. But he was probably my favorite Autobot besides Optimus and Bumblebee. There was a Japanese samurai who was a helicopter. Still, who the heck are these guys? I have no idea who these Autobots were. I had no idea. They never said any of their names. They hardly said any of their names. How about, Michael Bay, how about you tell us who these Autobots are? We want to know who these are. We can't identify or care if they die. We can't because we don't know who they are. Tell us, Michael Bay. And the same thing with the Decepticons. We had no idea who these Decepticons were, except for Galvatron and Stinger, because Michael Bay told us who they were. So basically, Optimus gets on Grimlock, and they do some fighting, and the fighting was actually pretty cool. But I was wanting the Spinosaurus, and it wasn't in there, but, what you gonna do? But the movie ends. Optimus basically tells the other Autobots to defend the Earth and for him to defend Mark Wahlberg's family, and he flies off into space, and the movie ends. And if there's going to be a Transformers 5, which I know there's going to be, because Galvatron said in the film, I am reborn, you have not seen the last of me. So there's going to be a Transformers 5. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed, but I'm pretty sure. Since Optimus is flying into space, how about Michael Bay make Unicron the villain? He's flying into space. That's where Unicron is, in space. Have Galvatron cause a bunch of havoc. Bring back his old Decepticons. Starscream, Blackout, Soundwave, Devastator, I don't know. And maybe have him contact Unicron, or Unicron make a deal with him or something. I don't know. Because that is how it was in the show. Galvatron, in the original cartoon show, from what I can remember, Starscream threw Megatron out in space. He made a deal with Unicron. Unicron brought him back as Galvatron. And then he retook over as King of the Decepticons. So, you could do something with that. Have Unicron be the main villain in this film. Please if you're going to make Transformers 5, Michael Bay, make it the last film. Have something more with the Dinobots. The Dinobots had nothing really to do in this film. Except, Optimus riding on Grimlock's back. And that was pretty much it. This film, it was not what I was wanting it to be. I liked the idea of humans hunting down the Autobots. I liked that idea. But I thought that the bounty hunter was Megatron because he was turning into a gun, basically. His head was turning into a gun. A lot of people thought that that was Megatron, including me. This story was okay. It was decent. It wasn't anything award-winning. In my opinion, it's better than Revenge of the Fallen. It's not better than Dark of the Moon. But, the story's not bad. I liked the idea. It was interesting. But, Michael Bay, when you're going to do Transformers, make it about the Transformers. Do not focus too much on the human characters, and that is exactly what you did in this film, just like you've done with the other ones. You're making the Transformers the side characters. If you're going to do Transformers, the first movie, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, it should have been about them on Cybertron on their home world. Or it should have been based on... Actually, I don't even think the book was out yet. But if they ever do reboot this series, that's what the first movie should be about. If they ever reboot Transformers, the first movie should be taken from the idea of Transformers Exodus, where you learn about everything that happened, why Optimus and Megatron hate each other, why Megatron is the villain, how he got with the Decepticons, how Optimus Prime became Optimus Prime. That would be a good movie. But until then, we're going to get things from Michael Bay. I have no idea how many more Transformers movies we're going to get. We're getting Transformers 5, I can already tell, because it ended. I knew we were going to get this because the way how the third one ended with Optimus killing Megatron. I got my wish. I wanted him to become Galvatron, but they destroyed his character. He wasn't like Galvatron was supposed to be. Galvatron is more ruthless and more evil than Megatron. They're the same person. It's him reborn, but he's different. He's more evil. He's more destructive. He's Galvatron. He wasn't a waste of time like he was in this film. Alright, that's honestly all I can give you. Guys, if you want to watch this film, have someone go with you, because this film almost put me to sleep twice. It's so long. I give this movie honestly a D. Just for some creativity in the story. But guys, that's all I've got for today. That's all I've got for this episode of Phenomenal Views. Comment, subscribe. What did you think of Transformers Age of Extinction? Comment below and let me know. Who's your favorite Decepticon? Do you prefer Megatron or Galvatron? What would you like there to be in Transformers 5? Because we're honestly going to get a Transformers 5. That's obvious. Alright guys, well, this has been another episode of Phenomenal Views. Stay tuned for when the next movie I will probably be doing will either be Fault in Our Stars or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and that is a film I cannot wait to talk to you all about. Guys, have a good night and a good weekend.